stories we're following on News 4 at 4. Two men facing charges this morning after this road rage shooting. We'll tell you what else police found when they made the arrest. Plus, support is growing for the family of an innocent teenager who was shot and killed this week in our state. We'll tell you how you can help the family through this unspeakable tragedy. And the season is just kicking off, but Waverly High School's football team is about to play the biggest game of the year. We'll have more on that later on in the show. Good morning, Nashville, and thanks for joining us early this morning. This morning, a fundraiser for the family of a slain Shelbyville teenager is approaching its $15,000 goal. 14-year-old Israel Diego Pascual was shot and killed Monday night.
Love you, Mama.
Rice is also charged with attempted first-degree murder because Israel's older brother was also in the car when Rice opened fire. Police say Rice is traveling with his girlfriend, Tiffany Taylor, who is also a person of interest. This morning, the U.S. has reached another grim milestone. 1 in 500 Americans have died from the coronavirus since the nation's first reported infection. 666,000 total Americans have died from COVID-19. That's according to Johns Hopkins University. Here in Tennessee, we're averaging around 59 new deaths a day compared to 8 at the beginning of the summer. Another Tennessee lawmaker requesting a special session over COVID concerns in schools. Senator Dawn White drafted this letter to the lieutenant governor. In it, she says she's asking that the legislator be called back to work to address several things, including President Biden's vaccine mandate, which she says, quote, clearly demonstrates a lack of regard for personal liberty and long-standing constitutional principles. Community organizations are preparing for hundreds of Afghan refugees to arrive in Nashville. Some could be here as soon as tomorrow. Now, this all comes after the U.S. military withdrew from Afghanistan. News 4's Cameron Taylor has more. The council will be doing some donation drives, and they'll also create welcome packages for the refugees. If you'd like to help out, just head on over to this story on the News 4 app to find out more. And as everyone was trying to evacuate Afghanistan, we lost 13 of our service members in a suicide bombing. One of them called Tennessee home. We've learned that U.S. Army Sergeant Ryan Knaus will be buried in a week at Arlington National Cemetery. He's from East Tennessee. And it's stories like these that just break your heart. Another service member killed in that bombing left behind his pregnant wife. She just had their baby girl this week. His wife, Gianna, gave birth Monday. McCollum is from Wyoming. He was killed on his first deployment. For the first time in the history of space travel, a capsule manned by a civilian crew is orbiting Earth. And that's not the only first. Among the 4 crew members, Sion Proctor, the first ever black female space pilot. Haley Arsenal is also there. She's a former patient and current employee at St. Jude in Memphis. She's the youngest and first person with a prosthetic to travel to space. The hope is that the trip will raise $200 million for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Now, the president and CEO of St. Jude's fundraising wrote this on Twitter during the launch, saying he got chills watching Haley in space. He says it's an extraordinary night for her and everyone at St. Jude. New this morning, the man who returned from a cross-country road trip without his girlfriend is now a person of interest. 22-year-old GABBY Petito had been on that trip with Brian Laundrie. Police say Laundrie returned home to Florida in the van they were in alone. Police say Laundrie hasn't spoken to investigators. This morning, we're hearing from Petito's father, who's pleading for information. Startling images coming from Louisiana State University showing floodwaters from Tropical Depression Nicholas. The National Hurricane Center says Nicholas will continue to hover over Louisiana. It could drop up to 10 inches of rain in some places when it's all said and done. Nicholas made landfall in Texas Tuesday as a Category 1 hurricane, and then it quickly downgraded to a tropical storm and then later on a depression. And now to a bizarre story you may have missed. Amid Nicholas's landfall along the Texas coast, a Texas attorney wandering a beach dressed as Michael Myers is facing charges this morning. He says he's dressed up as the killer, fake knife and all, because he wanted to bring a little joy ahead of the storm. He even said he would do it again. Well, police didn't really find it funny, and they slapped him with a disorderly conduct charge.
Come on. He's up there by himself doing nothing.
I don't know. That's creepy.
I think it's I won't say it, but.
An Antioch woman is using her hands to help single parents with a task that many families can't afford to do. That's getting their daughter's hair braided for the new school year. News 4's Danielle Jackson explains how this local mom is helping families using a skill that she's known since she was 16. Right now it is 4:30 on your Thursday and you're looking live at our city skyline. I'm going to be honest with you, weather doesn't feel great today. Cody, on the bright side, a lot of that rain has moved out of the way, but boy, is it humid and muggy outside right now.
Yeah, it's not feeling the best in Middle Tennessee this morning, Lindsay. But again, the good news is we're rain-free, so hopefully your job will be a little easier today on the roads.
It's a problem we keep hearing from so many people in Humphreys County. Confusion over whether or not they can get flood insurance. Call for Action problem solver Carice Jackman asked a few insurance companies about the biggest problems that families are facing. Emergency management from Humphreys County has heard complaints of people being rejected by FEMA, and they now explain that you can change that. On Facebook, the agency said people are getting letters back saying they aren't qualified for a payment. But here's the thing, you do have a chance to appeal it. Usually it comes down to needing a little more information that was missing the first time around. If this is you, everyone who's denied has 60 days to file an appeal. You'll get a response back within 90 days of submitting it. An emergency crews in Hickman County demolished a home that went viral for being swept away in the floods. Cindy and Glenn Hampton say their home was ripped off its foundation. You can see it floating there, and right now it's 2 properties over. Emergency crews did help with cleanup, but the family says the video of the home floating down Garner's Creek is a memory that they can't erase. This morning, new numbers show just how heavy the toll of the pandemic has been on mental health. People in our state are actually dealing with more mental health issues right now than anyone else. Here's Holly with the details. Meanwhile, Moderna says it's working on a booster to protect people against future variants. The company's president said it would target Delta because of its high transmission rate and Beta because it weakens immune protection. And some new video to show you from Franklin Police. They say the white truck you see right here was involved in a serious crash about 5 days ago on I-65. They say road rage was the cause. Right now you're watching video from right after it happened. Police say 2 men in this truck shot at a car with what appeared to be a pellet gun. Well, it did hit a car and completely shattered a window. Just a few days after performing in Nashville, Reba McEntire had to be rescued from a building in Oklahoma. She was on a tour in the small town of Atoka when the stairs collapsed. Her entire rescue was caught on camera as the fire department helps people out of that second-story window and down the ladder. Well, last night, a Tennessee woman got a once-in-a-lifetime view. St. Jude worker Haley Arsenal has officially been to space. She and 3 others became the first all-civilian crew to achieve the mark. The Inspiration 4 took off from Kennedy Space Center around 7 last night on their historic mission. The team will spend 3 days in space, 360 miles above the Earth. That's actually higher than the International Space Station itself. They make their way back to Earth on Saturday and will land in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Florida. As many as 30 cats are believed to be dead after a fire at a pet rescue in Florida. It happened at this shelter in Orlando. You can see crews trying to put out hot spots as smoke and flames billow from the roof. All 45 dogs inside the building were rescued, while only 10 cats were saved. Mississippi and Tennessee fans are calling for more Manning in the college football world. We showed you bits and pieces of the Manning cast from Monday Night Football. Tennessee legend Peyton Manning and Ole Miss legend Eli Manning do an alternative cast of the game with hilarious commentary. Well, there's now an entire Reddit section dedicated to letting the former QBs call the UT Ole Miss game later this year. Even Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin, also an ex-UT coach, is telling ESPN to give the people what they want. And hey, it could happen. ESPN does own the SEC network.
I think they should do it.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't watch any of last week's Manning cast, but I mean, just seeing the highlights here this week.
It was everywhere.
It sounds like you gotta watch it.
It made it so much more entertaining. Like if you don't like football, if you don't like NFL or college football, you're gonna watch that.
That's
to see
the way to get into it,
brothers
right?
Just dig at each other the entire time.
I made that forehead comment.
Yes,
he was like,
I loved that.
The forehead's too big for these small helmets.
He owns it too.